Welcome everybody. Hello, my name is Mish, and if I haven't met you before, I'm very, very excited to have you here and for the start of this training. It is something that I think is going to really add value to our Strength for Life program, and expand it out, not just now where we're at with COVID, but I think into the future too. It has a lot of potential. Now, when I've talked to people, both in Strength for Life and general in the fitness industry, about taking their program online, I heard a similar story all the time. And that was, oh, it doesn't really work. And I think what happens is, or what has happened, is that people haven't really appreciated how many ducks you need to get into a line before you actually turn on your camera. And it certainly has been a huge learning curve for me, both watching other people do it, because I don't run my own classes, but also working with Marietta and watching her journey. This is so new that we are really at the forefront of creating this education and kind of getting all the building blocks that you need so that taking Strength for Life online will be the most successful experience possible. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Marietta Mahoney, who some of you may know from other parts of the fitness industry, or even some of the training that I've done with Strength for Life and Marietta. We have been friends for a number of years. She has been a mentor of mine, I don't know, a long time ago. We've presented together, and she is a wonderful, wonderful presenter, and I've watched her pivot and take her whole, what she does, where she used to go around, not only present and do lots of amazing things, but she does teaches an insane number of classes each week, and she has pivoted to do it all online. And I didn't today, but usually I'm at her 12 o'clock free session on Facebook, and do my workout in the middle of the day, which many of you know, because I'm like turn up to meetings all a bit pink faced. So I am really, really excited to have Marietta with us to absolutely break down the building blocks that we need in order for Strength for Life online being the most enjoyable experience, not just for you, but also for your participants. So I'm just going to now make Marietta the host, and she will take over from here. So welcome everybody. Oh, sorry, one more thing. If you have questions, please put them in the chat box. We are going to allow 10 minutes at the end for questions. However, if we run out of time, we like to keep to a real strict time frame, and there's questions are still coming through, I will email out everybody the answers. So if there's anything that you think of, you're welcome to message in the box here. And I hope you have all joined the Facebook group, because we are a special group together. Okay, I'm just going to make you the host, Marietta, and away you go.
Thank you, Mish. And as she said, we've worked together for a really long time. But I want to just talk really specifically about what's happened. And what I'm going to do with you is literally share the journey that I've been on since COVID-19 hit. And I wasn't the first one out of the gate with the whole setup. It actually took me a month to get organised, to get set up. And it took me a while because I was making lots and lots of mistakes and frustrated because everyone else seemed to have their stuff put together except for me. So I want to share with you all the things that I learned along that journey to ensure that you circumnavigate the issues, and also that you won't get caught in the same sort of traps. I have to say one thing about myself. I'm persistent, and I failed and I kept trying, and I failed and I kept trying, because I really see this as being the future, and it's been coming for a while. The only difference is that COVID-19 has just fast-tracked us. So I'm going to share my screen with you because I have a PowerPoint that I want to go through with you. So I'm going to share, and go from the beginning. Oops, that's not the beginning. Hang on. 1 second. What's happened here? All right, we're going to go from the beginning. All right, here we go. So I'm just going to move me across so we can get this beautiful quote. And this very much is the situation. Now, I'm not alone when I talk about not being a techie. And I've heard this a lot from other instructors. I run my own Let's Chat Marietta every fortnight, and many of the instructors have said similar things. I'm not a tech person. Well, neither am I. I'm 48, 49 this year, and I did not grow up with computers until later on in my life. And so it's not natural for me to just do what everyone calls intuitive. So, you know, it's just about being able to change your mindset, and really believe in this. The quote I want to start with today is, whatever makes you uncomfortable is your biggest opportunity for growth. Now, this applies to you in this situation with Zoom. We say it to our clients all the time. In fact, that's how we encourage them to start exercising. We let them know that some things that they're going to be doing with exercise will make them uncomfortable, but then in the end, it will give them an opportunity for growth, whether it's growth in their muscle mass, whether it's more improvement with their balance. Everything's about growth. So I want you to start thinking about your mindset, and in particular, in regards to mindset with your growth mindset, or are you a fixed mindset? So a fixed mindset would naturally assume that, you know, failure is the limit of my abilities. I couldn't get my first session working. It was too hard. Therefore, I'm not going to do it anymore. A growth mindset would say, okay, I didn't do that well. What can I do differently? And I'd like to think that through this process, I've had a growth mindset. This is based on Carol Dweck's work. She's done fantastic TED Talks. She's written a great book that's all about mindset. And, you know, it's about accepting some of the challenges. And you will have challenges along this path. It's not going to be smooth sailing, but what I'm hoping to do is help you be able to make it smoother than what I went through. Okay, so let's talk about the very first important things. What do you need to set up? Now, Mish and I talked about this, and we discussed about what's the minimum requirement for setup. Like, what is the absolute minimum that you need to make sure that you can get going? And it's not a lot. So your setup, your must-haves, these are things that you must have. You must have a computer. You just have to have a computer. Doing it with an iPad, doing it with a mobile phone is just not going to work. You've got to have a computer. So we're going to tick that box. The next thing that you definitely need to have is an adapter for your computer to connect directly to the internet. This is an example of a USB adapter. You can purchase these at any JB Hi-Fi. Just about any electronic place will have them, and they've got them back in stock now, because initially at the start of COVID-19, everyone ran out of this. I have a computer that has a USB-C, and I have to get an adapter for a USB-C. So whatever it is that you need to have for your computer, because if your Ethernet doesn't plug into your computer, most computers don't have an Ethernet adapter anymore, you'll need to buy an adapter, and you'll need to buy the cord that will allow you to plug straight into the internet. You cannot do this with Wi-Fi. Don't try, you will not be successful. Wi-Fi has been interesting for me because even when I do my Facebook Lives, the free workouts like what Mish does at 12 o'clock, I actually connect to my 4G data. My Wi-Fi is not, and even though I have fast internet, my Wi-Fi is not reliable. So one other thing that you might like to do, and I'm just telling you all the basics because I understand, I didn't understand this at the beginning. You can also do an internet test. It's very simple. You just go to Google, you type in speed test, and it will come up, it will be the first thing, and you just click on that, and it will actually test your internet speed, and it will give you a score. It will tell you if it's fast or not. My Wi-Fi can be really unpredictable, but my internet is always fast. So these are the must-haves, right? Computer, adapter for your computer, cord, so that I've got cords running all over my house now so that I can actually use and do a Zoom session. So right now I'm in my office, my internet's located way over in my lounge room. I have a cord that runs through my house so that I can have a successful Zoom session with you and it doesn't drop out. So that's number one. The next thing that you need to think of is how to set up the space that you're thinking of setting up. So this is actually not my lounge room. My lounge room is way smaller than this, and you'll get a picture of this soon. This is of a colleague of mine, Maria. She's over in New Zealand, and she's now set up for classes. So a few things that you need to think about. Lighting. So you got to check your lighting to see if the lighting's bright enough or you're just in the dark or in the shadows. Now, I'm lucky in my lounge room, I pull the blinds down and I turn my lights on, and it's great lighting. For Maria, she's actually got to buy a light. She bought a light and she's got two. So she's got one here and she's got one near the window to give her the best light during her class. Ventilation. So, you know, if you're someone that's going to be moving around quite a bit, you might need ventilation in the space that you're exercising in. So something that's really important to consider. A lot of people don't think about it. The other thing is your laptop and your camera. So in a laptop, you have a camera. I'm going to show you my setup shortly. And make sure that it's positioned in a place that you'll be easily seen. Like your whole body needs to be seen in that laptop. And I'll show you how you can actually test that later on so that they can actually see the whole body. The last thing you want to do is give instructions about any exercise where they can't see your legs and you're referring to something like a squatting action. So another thing that you might also want to consider is how are you going to be heard? So for most of us, it depends on the acoustics of the space that you're in. So when I teach my Gymstick live classes in my kitchen, I have the most perfect acoustics in that space. It's amazing. It's perfect. I actually don't even need anything connected to my device. But if your computer is further away from you, you have a soft voice, perhaps you don't project your voice very well, or you have a lot of background noise, you need to have something that Bluetooths you to your device so that you're free to move. You cannot use, and I'm just going to pull it out of my drawer right now since I'm in my office, you cannot use one of these things. You cannot be wired to your computer if you're going to demonstrate exercise. You need to have something that Bluetooths to your device so that you can be easily heard if there's an issue with any acoustics. So these are the absolute basics that you need to have. Now, we'll show you my setup. So I have a tiny lounge room. Don't worry, that heater is not operational anymore. I have ducted heating. This is why I can have all this stuff in front of. But these are some things that are nice to have. So I'm just going to move me down a little bit. So setting up, what would be nice to have if you can? So a webcam. Now, this is not absolutely necessary, but the space where, just this space here, is actually where my laptop sits. The webcam means I can move the camera around to a better position so that I'm in better focus. I can angle it down, I can twist it a little bit. It makes it easier for me to maneuver it around because my laptop's going to sit on that ledge. Now, I don't want to be moving my laptop around too much because I don't want it to fall off the ledge. So the webcam is my best option. They're not that expensive. They're really, really useful. I'm not using a webcam right now. I'm actually using the computer camera. So the other thing that's also nice to have is either a TV or a big screen. And that's the reason why my computer sits right there. I have a HDMI cable that plugs into my computer so that when I'm doing my Zoom session, I'm looking at the TV at all the people in my Zoom session. It makes them a lot larger because where I need to stand from where my computer is around about 3 meters away. So if I have 10 people that are joining me on my Zoom session, I can't see what each of them are doing. I need them to be projected onto a bigger screen. These are the nice to have things, not essential, but nice to have. I'm actually going to purchase another screen today or on the weekend so that I can have everything permanently plugged in and I don't need to muck around. But that's up to you if you want to have another screen. So these are things that are nice to have. Okay, so what else might be nice to have? Now, this is something that a lot of people have discussed at length on social media, and that is music. So I'm aware that a lot of you will do your classes with everyone joining in the warm-up and then everyone joining in the cool down. So let's talk about music because this is really an important piece here. So there's two ways that you can go about this. Firstly, you can have music. You can have music playing. Now, when you're doing a Zoom session and you don't have any special adapters, and I have a special adapter that plugs a mixer into my computer, but we're not talking about the things that are nice to have right now. The things that would be, you know, that you might have access to right now is you might want to play background music. Now, I need to let you know that Zoom does something very interesting with this, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but you might choose to have background music on some speakers near you. Now, you need to make sure that the music that you're using is appropriate for video. Now, a lot of people are a little bit confused about this because they think, well, I've got PPCA-free music. PPCA-free music isn't music that you can put onto a video. The video copyright laws are different and they require very special laws, and that means that you cannot use music that's been a remake of another popular song. The music that you can use on video has to be completely license free in that no one else has created it before other than the music company that you're getting it from. So I've used Power Music. They have a selection of tracks called virtual music. It won't be music that you recognize because they actually created the music and it's license free. So that can go on video. The alternative that you could choose, if that's too hard, is that you can ask your clients to have their own music that they can listen to while doing the workout. They join in for your warm-up. You can be listening to your own music. They could have their own music playing in the background. It's really up to them. So you can have your clients choose their own music. But we'll talk a little bit more about what Zoom does with background noise later. So just hang in there. But just remember that if you're going to do anything that you want to videotape and have music in the background, make sure it's appropriately licensed for that. And it's got to be basically music that you can use on video. It's a completely different license. Okay, so moving on. This is my little disclaimer that I have. So prior to my Zoom sessions, I'll just put me underneath my face. How's that? I actually have a screen that goes up because I start my Zoom meeting before the actual class begins. So I set everything up and I go in and I set up the Zoom and I have this screen up, and basically it's a disclaimer and some instructions around this. Now I want to talk a little bit more about insurance at this point because I think that's important. Let's go through each of the topics. Firstly, it's instructions to your audience. By participating in the workout today, you're doing so at your own risk. They must have a suitable non-slip floor space is required, and any potential obstructions in the vicinity are removed before you start the workout. Now, these instructions have actually been given to me by my insurance provider. So all I did was just basically cut and paste it, put it onto this screen, and this is what they get to read before the workout. To avoid activities if you have or suspect that you may have any current health concerns, injuries, aches and pains, make sure that you're wearing appropriate footwear and workout clothing. During the workout, place your viewing device where you can see Marietta easily whilst being able to show your body and technique for coaching purposes. Now, this is particularly important in regards to a Zoom session because sometimes they'll have me on their iPad. They'll put their iPad on a table and they can see it from where they are, but I can only see the ceiling. So I can't give them any feedback. So these are instructions that's good to have on the screen, but also that you will need to repeat back to your participants during the workout, during parts of the class. Of course, this is also determined by their eyesight. So if they're choosing to have you on their mobile phone, clearly they won't be able to have, they'll struggle to be standing any distance away from the phone and then still be able to see you. So you do need to encourage your clients to have you on their computer, or perhaps cast them to their TV, or have it on an iPad, but position it where you can also see their body, because otherwise it's pointless. At the beginning of the workout, Marietta will mute your microphone so that everyone can enjoy the workout. Now, this is important. This is what Mish was saying right at the start of this workout, or this particular presentation, I should say, to mute everyone, because if people aren't muted, it's so noisy in the background. And you can hear every noise. You know, someone's got a dog barking, someone's got their neighbor next door hammering something. It becomes overwhelming. So it's best that everyone's quiet, like this situation right now. And at the start of the workout, Mario will ask about music and microphone volume. You can just give her a thumbs up or a thumbs down to provide feedback. And of course, you can then go and unmute them to sort of get any verbal feedback if it's not sure. So I like to be honest with you, the way I set it up, every morning I have a 9 o'clock class. At 8 o'clock, I start to set up. Just organising things, just taking my time. And then I open my Zoom session at 8:30. And then it's already open. So if anyone joined in at 8:35, they could actually see this screen. This screen would be up for the next about up till 10 to 9. At 8:50, I take the screen off. I start waving to people. Sometimes people want to interact with me and say hello. I encourage it. So that's where I get to have a little bit of a chat with them. And then I go back through these instructions at the start of the workout again to make sure that I'm covered off regarding insurance purposes. So here's some other information that came about from my insurance company. So they also said, ensure, let's see, I need to just move this a bit. Ensure that sessions are conducted for the benefit of existing members, participants, contacts only who have demonstrated sufficient suitability to participate. So of course, all of you would make sure that that was the case. You know, you have disclaimer forms or whatever you do with Strength for Life. Also, let's see, what's going on here? Continue to only instruct activities in which you're qualified to do so. And then finally, record the session. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this right now. This is really important. Record the session. Retaining the recording for a period of up to 36 months may assist in any claim made against you. So I also have, when I'm presenting, doing my classes, a camera. Now, this is a camera that sits in the corner of my lounge room and it records all of my workout. I will also show you how you can do this in Zoom. But the reason why I have this camera is right now, when Mish is recording this session, she's also recording me talking in the corner. Anything that's on the screen will be recorded. Now, when you're recording a Zoom session, it's whatever on your screen. So, for example, if I had all of you up right now, I would be recording having all these people up on the screen right now. So that might not be suitable for insurance purposes, especially if the claim's being made about something that you did or something that you instructed. It's just something to think about. You could set up a mobile device, you could be recording it on your phone or your iPad, but you've got to keep it for a period of time that your insurance company requires to. My insurance company asks me to hold on to it for 36 months. It's a long time, but this is just in case something happens in the class and they said, well, this is what happened. I got injured because of X, Y, and Z. The instructor said this. You need to have proof of what actually happened in that class. So something to think about. Just check your insurance. That's all I've got to say about that, just to make sure that you are covered in case anything does happen. All right, so let's talk about recording. We're going to talk about here. So this is how you can record in Zoom. So in Zoom, when you open it up, and I'll show you a video about Zoom, you'll have the option to record. So what's cool about recording in Zoom is that it will actually save it to your computer. It just depends on what you've decided to do with Zoom. There's a couple of options. There's the free option. And when you have the free option, you can record your classes. But with the free option, there's a time limit for how long you can be on Zoom. And I think it's about 40 minutes unless they've changed it. So you can pay a yearly fee. It's not expensive. I think it's about 250 Australian dollars for the whole year. And then that will actually give you the ability to record it and store it in the cloud. You will need to consider having a hard drive. I use a hard drive. I also have cloud so that it gets stored up in the cloud, because if my hard drive corrupts, then I'm in trouble. But it will take up a lot of space on your computer. So you don't want to keep all of your class recordings on your computer, because you will run out of space on your computer. All right, so this is a great segue to move on to Zoom. So, and here it is. I've just repeated myself here. And I do recommend that you put it up into some sort of storage device. So I've got Dropbox. You can use Google Drive. It's a good idea to make sure that you keep it somewhere that's not on your computer, just in case your computer crashes, and we've all had that experience before. So you can use it on your phone, or you can use it on a camera. And the advantage for me is I actually keep it on my camera. And now that I have a membership, all those people that are now on my membership get access to the videos that I've now recorded. So it's working out in two ways. All right, we're going to move on to Zoom 101. So moving along, Zoom 101. So for all those people that know nothing about Zoom, here it is. I'm going to give you the basics. All right. The very first thing that you need to know is that you can always do a Zoom test. Zoom test is awesome. And I did a Zoom test prior to probably the first 2 weeks of Zoom classes, until I was pretty confident that everything worked. You literally put zoom.us/test, and basically you're testing your microphone, you're testing your speakers. And you can actually hear what you sound like. You can see what you look like. You can set up the webcam if that's what you're using. This is the best tool ever. One of the things that I also do now, I do a Zoom test every 2 or 3 days still, to check that when I'm doing this, I'm not delayed, right? So I discovered that if I'm delayed but my internet is fast, I just need to restart my computer and then I'm back to speed. But there's nothing more frustrating than when they can hear what you've said, but you're moving in slow motion because there's an issue with the internet, or perhaps you need to restart your computer. The Zoom test, you can test all of that before anyone has come on live. Okay, now let's talk about Zoom sound. This is really important. So you've decided that you'll put music on in the background. You can hear it clearly. It's great. You know it's something everyone loves. Zoom does something very interesting with sound. It will actually have a preference over the speaking voice. So what will happen is, on the other end, your Zoom participants, whenever you're talking, it will have a preference for your voice and a lower preference for music, which will perceive it as being background noise. So what will happen is that the music will sound like it's being played underwater. It's awful. So there you are thinking everyone's enjoying the music and they're getting into it and they're loving it, and all they hear is, and they can hear your voice. It's not ideal. So unless you want to go to the effort that I did, I went and bought like a special sound card that plugs into a mixer, that plugs into my sound system, because music is an important part of my workout. Then just ask your participants to perhaps have their own background music if they need to have music. Just be aware that the music will not sound clearly to them as it will be for you. All right, so just be aware of that. All right, so next, I'm going to go to a video with you that actually shows you how to set up a Zoom meeting for you. Okay, ready? Here it goes.
What I'm going to go through now is actually how to set up a Zoom session. So I'm just going to put into your Zoom. And you'll see options here to download. So I'm going to just click on the Zoom. So zoom.us. And the first thing it will actually ask you to do is create a login. So you'll need to create a login, just fill in your own personal details, provide a photo. I've already created a login, so if I just click and open my account, you can see here that I've added my profile. It will allocate an account number for you. I have actually paid for a Zoom license, so I can have up to 100 people, and I can have sessions that go longer than 1 hour. So I can have, as you can see here, I can have up to 24 hours if I wish to. You set your time zone, and you can also set the type of date format that you would like to have. And this is important, especially if you are going to set meetings. So what I'm going to do is show you how you schedule a meeting, and it's really, really easy. So you just click schedule a meeting, and then you'll come to this page. Now you might want to call your meeting a specific name. It could be Thursday 5 p.m. workout, for example. You can put a description there if you want to, but here's the important stuff. This is where you need to actually pick your date. So I'm going to pick Thursday 21st of May, and because it's 5 p.m. I need to make sure it's also 5 p.m. here. So I just scroll down to the 5 and I change that to p.m. Now if you've got the free plan, it will give you 40 minutes. So this would automatically be 40 minutes, but because I pay for my plan, I can have as many hours as I like. So I'm going to keep it to 1 hour. And I can either set it to be a reoccurring meeting, so it's something that happens every week, or it can just happen for once. If I want it just once, I don't click the box. If I want it recurring, I do click that box. Now the registration is actually really interesting. This means that people will need to register for the meeting. Now the advantage of clicking registration is that when people get the invitation, they're actually required to register, and then you can see how many people are going to be available or who are going to actually be at your class. So I'm going to click required, and this is something that I've started doing so that I can actually see who's registered for my sessions. Now I just generate the meeting ID automatically, and it does require a meeting password. I keep that on. Now this part's important. You want to make sure that you click on for host and on for participant in regards to their video. So that means that they'll be able to see you, and they will automatically be seen as well. So they don't have to do anything at their end, except for making sure that they click their video on. So we want both on. So I always have both the telephone and computer audio. I always put them both on. And now this is important. So meeting options. So meeting options means that you can pick and choose how you want them to enter a meeting or a class in this situation. So enable to join before the host means that they can actually log on and start their Zoom experience before you've started. Now there is some advantages in doing that, and that is so that they might need to fiddle around with their Zoom settings before the meeting starts. They might need to find out where their camera is and where their microphone is, and all of that will appear on their screen before you've started the session. So you might want them to be able to enable before the host. Now, muting participants upon entry means that if they haven't quite worked out where the mute button is, sometimes when people start their Zoom session, especially if you've enabled them to join before the host, they could have a lot of background noise, and that can be a little bit annoying, especially as more and more people start joining the Zoom session. So I usually mute the participants upon entry. Enable waiting room can be very useful if you want to make sure that you vet each person before they come in. So for example, you actually have to admit them to the session, and little sign will come up on your screen that says someone's in the waiting room. I actually disable this when I have a registration being required. And the reason why I disable this is so that I'm not constantly going back and forth from my computer, especially after I've started the session, to enable people to access the workout. So if you've enabled this, you actually have to personally admit them. And I find that once I get started, this can be a little bit annoying because I've got to keep going back to admit them. Only authenticated users can join, and that might be something that you want them to make sure that they sign into Zoom, and this can be an effective way to stop people from accessing the Zoom session that haven't been authenticated. So that's up to you whether you want to tick that off or not. And then record the meeting automatically. Now, some of you may want to choose this option because it's important that you do record your sessions, as I've mentioned. This is an option here for you to do, and if you record it, it will give you an option to do it on your computer or in the... Once you've clicked save, your details will come up. Now, the registration link is the bit that you're most interested in, and what you can do here is click copy invitation, and you simply copy the meeting invitation. Now, you'll see that here it says you're invited to a Zoom meeting. This is the date, this is the time. Register in advance. Okay, so that's a link. After registering, you'll receive a confirmation email containing the information about joining this meeting. So you just click on copy the meeting invitation, and then what you can do is go to your email, start a new email. I'm just going to send one to myself. Class, workout, information. And then I write, hi Marietta, and then all I do is click paste, and there's my meeting invitation. What I also like to do is just place my cursor on the end of that link and just press enter, and then that becomes a actual live link, meaning that they just need to click on that. So I'm just going to click on that link, and that's going to take me to a registration page. So they just put in their name, their last name, their email address, click in I'm not a robot, and then they just need to click register. Then they have a meeting registration approval, and then all they have to do is click on this link, and that will take them to the Zoom meeting. So now they will receive this on their page. They'll ask you to open your Zoom meeting. It's connecting, and there I am. I'll just put me into full screen. So there's me recording this particular session because I'm showing you how to use Zoom. So when we have a look at Zoom, when I move the cursor on my screen, you'll actually see a few things. Firstly, you'll see that down the bottom there's a mute button. Now I can mute myself, right? I can also stop my video. And so I'll just click on that and it stops my video, and we go back to the image that I had before, and I'm just going to click start video again. Down the bottom you can see that there's one participant, which is me. Okay, so I'm actually the host for this. All right, and I can also have a small chat if I want to type a message, hello Marietta. That's coming up down here on the bottom right. Okay, now sharing the screen is if I want to share my actual screen, and if I click on that, it will give me a few options. If I'm sharing the screen and I have a PowerPoint, then I can actually show everyone the PowerPoint. It will actually show everything that's on my screen, and all I have to do is go down here and click share. You can also share your computer sound. If you're playing any music through your computer, you can do that too. And you can also optimize the screen sharing if you've got a video clip, if you need to show them something via video. I'll go ahead and close that. So now I move my cursor, you can see that I've also got recording. So up in the top corner, because I clicked I wanted to record my session, it's actually recording my session. And then after this session's over, it'll give me the option to ask where to store it. So I can pause it or stop the recording at any time. So I'm going to go ahead and end this. Oh, one more thing I need to show you is this. So I can go into full screen, and because it's just me right now, I can't see the gallery settings because there's no one else in this particular session. But normally there would be an option here to see gallery sessions. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and click end, and it'll give you the option. Do I want to end the meeting for all? And because I'm the host, I can end the meeting for everybody, or if I'm a participant, I can just leave the meeting. But I'm going to end the meeting for everybody. So that's pretty much it. It's actually, and here it is, it's now converting my meeting recording, and it will then ask me where it wants to get stored on my computer, because I wanted to ask for it on my computer. Now just keep in mind that videos do take up a lot of space on your computer, so it's a good idea to have it stored somewhere else. You can put it on an external hard drive, and here it is, it's asking me where I want it stored. So I'll just say I want it stored. I have actually a folder here from my Zoom folder. So I'm going to say Zoom, I'm going to click OK, and it's going to be stored there. So I usually like to take my meetings out of my computer because they do take up a lot of space. I will put it onto an external hard drive, or I'll upload it into the cloud. And it's a good idea to put it somewhere like the cloud, because then you can have access to it at any time and it will not be lost and your hard drive won't get corrupted. So that's pretty much all you need to know about how to set up a Zoom meeting. And now you've got this video to be able to refer to if you ever get stuck.
Okay, so back to me. Hopefully you'll get access to that video because Mish is going to share that with you. So my next hot tip for Zoom is you need to practice with friends. You've got to practice this thing before you launch it live with real people, mainly because you need to get everything right. The feedback that I had several practice sessions before I decided to go live, before I started charging for it, because I felt uncomfortable about anyone paying for something that wasn't quite right. So practice with your friends. In fact, that's going to be part of your homework for this week. So that's really important that you do that. Do everything. Set up the meeting, which is your workout. Set up your studio. Set up your sound, set up everything, and take like a 10-minute class, assuming that this is just like as if you're going to go live with it. Now, your checklist, the things that you need to ask yourself when you run your practice session. Can they see you clearly? Can they hear you clearly? If you're using music, can they hear it in your voice clearly? Are you freezing or moving with the music? So these are the 4 big ones that you want to make sure yes, that's all good, and that you're not having any challenges with freezing. Especially if you're going to get everyone to move with the music, they can't hear the music and then you're delayed by 2 seconds. So something to be aware of. Okay, best viewing. So we talked a little bit about this in regards to layouts. Now, when you run your first Zoom, and this is why it's important to do this with your friends or with a group of people that you can trial something with. The gallery view is what you want to have if you want to be able to see your whole class. Because sometimes you can have like an active speaker. Like right now, I'm the only one I can see right now. I'm sharing my screen, but I'm the only one that I can see. if I hover my mouse over this, I can actually show like more people if I want to, but because I'm sharing my screen, I'm only ever going to see myself. I actually hid myself there while you're watching the video. So make sure that you're comfortable with the gallery so that you can set yourself up on your screen so you can see everybody at the same time. So this is what it looks like, gallery. So this is when you have a main speaker. So when you're talking, which will be you most of the time, and then you'll have all these people across the top. It's not what I like to have. I like to have gallery view, which is what looks like this. This is what I call gallery view. And so I'm one of those little squares, but then everybody else is a bigger square than if they were in the previous slide. They're little squares across the top. So I prefer to have a gallery view. So just something to get familiar with when you're using with Zoom. All right, so let's talk about the best participant experience. So I've also made another little video that you can pass on to your participants so they can get familiar with Zoom. This is just a short one.
Hi, I'm going to show you a quick little video on how to be able to access your workouts. Now, your instructor is going to send you an email with some instructions. Here's an example of what that email will look like. So you'll be like, hi there, you're invited to a Zoom meeting, or it could be called a Zoom workout, or your instructor may have given it another name. And it will give you the time and the date, and then it will give you writing in blue. Now, this is called a link. All you need to do is put your cursor on the writing anywhere, do a left click, and what that will do is automatically open up to a web page. So now it's opening up onto a web page, and it's going to require you to register. Sometimes the registration isn't required, but in this situation it is. So I have a meeting registration. Now all you need to do is pop in your first name, you need to write in your last name, and then put your email address, confirming your email address. So then all you do is click on I'm not a robot. You just do a left-hand click on that. And after it stops spinning and you get the green tick, you click register. So once you've registered, you'll get a meeting approval. This is all automated, so you don't need to remember anything. And the part that you need to click on if you want to access the workout at the time of the workout on the date is to click all of this blue writing. And all you have to do is put your cursor there, left-hand click, and it will open up to another page. Now you'll see the spinning circle, and it will ask you to open Zoom meeting. So you put your cursor on there, left click again, and what it will do is it will open up the class. Make sure to check the date and check the time so that you actually attend the class that you're interested in going to. And that's all it takes. So what will happen is you'll get a screen that looks like this. As you can see, I'm talking into the computer. You can enter into a full screen, which is recommended, and all I did was put my cursor on that. So I'll enter into a full screen, and there I am. And what you'll see is that a whole bunch of other people will join you as well. What else you will actually see is this black bar that will appear down the bottom of your screen. Now, there's a few things here that you might want to notice. Firstly, there's a little microphone over in the left-hand corner. If I click on this, it'll give me a unmute, and you can see that I've been unmuted. Now that means that my instructor can't hear me anymore and no one else can. This can be useful during a workout so that you can cut down background noise. But if you want to unmute yourself, you click unmute. So that's one way you can communicate with your instructor. Another point to make here is stop the video. So if I stop the video, it means that I can no longer be seen. So if there's a whole bunch of other people in this Zoom meeting, they won't be able to see me, but I still will be able to see them. So closing that does not mean that you can't see anyone, it means they can't see you. So I'll go ahead and start the video again. Now, you'll also see a chat button here. So a chat is so that I can communicate with my instructor. So if I'm muted and I want to say something, I can click the chat. And this is all with the left-hand click. And over here, I can type a message. Hello, everyone. And I'll just press the enter button and there's my message. So if you want to communicate with your instructor, you'll see, hello everyone, and or can you please speak to me, or whatever else that you might want to communicate. So I'll go ahead and just close that window, close. So I just click that little arrow there and click close. Other than that, that's pretty much all you need to know. The one other little point is over here, that red button, if you ever want to leave the class. So if I click on the red button, it'll give me a choice to leave the meeting. And you want to click leave the meeting, not end the meeting for everyone else. So the meeting is in reference to your class or to your workout. Anytime you move this cursor around, you will get all of these buttons. But the minute you stop moving your cursor, that black bar will disappear like it has now. So it's not gone forever, you just need to move your cursor around and it will pop up again. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave the meeting. So I'm going to click end, I'm going to leave the meeting, and it basically just takes you back to this page. That's all you need to know on how to be able to access your workouts from your instructor.
Okay, so just to finish off with, just a couple of little points. Payment, all right. So how do you organize payment? So this took me ages. This took me ages. So I want to just share some of my little tricks and strategies. So, you know, there's obvious, this is the number one, easy one to do, bank transfer. Now, of course, the clients can't give you cash. That's the whole point of doing something online. There's no actual physical transactions here. They're in their home, you're in another space. They will need to get comfortable with being able to do an online bank transfer. Okay, so that's one way you can do it. And then check off your list who's paid for the class. So it's up to you if you want to do that. And that's easy. That's the number one. The other one is PayPal. Now, the reason why I recommend PayPal and getting a PayPal account, it depends if your clients have one as well, is it makes it more secure. You get, they feel a lot more security. You know, you're not having to share your bank details with the world. They can pay you through PayPal, and then all they need is your email address. That's it. And then they can pay you through PayPal, and then you can get a report from PayPal to see who's paid. So that's another option. Another option is MailChimp. Now, MailChimp's actually a very interesting service. Most of us know MailChimp as being an email provider, a database provider, but they also have web pages. You can create web pages on MailChimp, and you can also create a payment gateway through MailChimp. It's actually very clever. I only discovered this recently. I'm not using it personally because I've gone down the route of having my own website, which you may choose to do. Wix is one of the offerings that you can have a look at. I didn't go with Wix. Wix is one, inexpensive, pretty user-friendly. Most people like using Wix. I've gone with another payment gateway, which is a little bit more detailed, but that was because I wanted to have a membership, etc. But these are the ones I've researched as far as from easiest to probably the one that requires them a bit more work. So bank transfer, PayPal, number 3 is MailChimp, and the 4th one is creating your own website. And you can use Wix as being the easiest ones. What I've tried to do is find the easiest ones to do. So, homework. What do you need to do now? So we've discussed this with Mish, and actually what I might do now is I actually will go through this now, and then Mish is probably going to reiterate. But these are the things that you now need to do in the next week. All right. First thing that you need to do is set up a Zoom account. It's really not hard. It's quite easy. See that little picture of me that popped up when I stopped the camera? That's my picture I've put into my Zoom account. So it's super easy. You don't need to pay any money. It takes probably about 15 minutes of your time. Organize equipment and space that you need to deliver the class. So I needed to look at my lounge room, rearrange stuff. I got creative. I got some grey material velcroed into the wall because I wanted a blank background. But find your space, set it up. Perform a Zoom test on your own. So do the zoom.us/test and do a test. So work out whether the space is right, whether the camera's at the right angle, all of those sorts of things. Test your microphone, test your camera. Set up a Zoom meeting for a group of friends and send out the invitation. Okay, so you need to do that in the next 7 days. All right, so you've got to actually set it up. We're fast tracking you now. You don't have a month to do this. You need to deliver a short 10-minute practice workout with your friends. Okay, you also need to make sure you record the session, whether you're recording it on a camera, a mobile device, or you're going to record it in Zoom. Okay, so that's what you need to do. So then you need to email Mish to confirm that you've completed your Zoom test by Monday, next Monday, this coming Monday at 4 p.m. Okay, so they're the things that you need to do right now. If you want to take a quick photo, go ahead, take that photo. I think Mish will also be sending you an email to let you know about this, what you need to do now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to go back to Zoom and I'm going to make my friend Mish, okay, make her the host. Yes, I do. There we go. Mish is now the host.
Thank you, Marietta. I had to go get a cardio on. It's freezing here in Melbourne. I hope you found that not too confronting, I suppose, with all the things that you need to do to get you to the next step. Each of these things are really, really important. And so it needs to be done. Now, there's a couple of reasons that I need you to email me, have this work done, your homework, by Monday, 4 p.m, because I have another little task that you need to do before we meet again Wednesday week. Now, it is really important, if you can, to come to these live trainings, because at the end, we're going to launch together. And we need everyone to be ready and everyone to be delivering a really quality product, and for you to feel comfortable. So there's just a couple of things I want to pick up on. First of all, if you do use PayPal, just know that they actually take a little cut. I think it's about $2 or something, so per transaction, or I don't know whether it's probably a percentage of. Yeah, Mariette is saying it's a percentage of, so just be aware of that as an option. The other thing is that Nathan, I don't know if you can see him up in the bar, give us a wave, Nathan. He is going to be, because this is a pilot project, I have to give feedback to the organisation whether this training and what we do hits the mark and is a success. So Nathan will be creating a little survey. It will not take you very long, but it's really, really important. He's shaking, yeah, it's like so quick to do, quick and easy, but it means that, you know, if we can just check and evaluate that we are hitting the mark with you, what you need, and for getting Strength for Life online as a program. So I will be following up with an email regarding what you need to do. I hope you all took a photo. I really recommend that you also join the Facebook group. It would be really, really good if we support each other. You would have all received my email regarding that we're all kind of in this together and we're all here to help each other. So please use the Facebook group, join up. You should have the link. If you don't, email me, and I will be emailing you out specifics of what you need to do. Also those, and also access to the recording of this, and also there's lots of things, but those 2 videos that Marietta made, they will be saved independently too, so that you can just use those if you need to go through that rather than going through the whole of this Zoom meeting as well. So that brings us pretty much to on the hour, as I promised, only 1 hour of your time. for a meeting, but you've got some work to do now. And to finish off, I'd really like to thank Marietta so much for the time and effort and energy she has gone into to find out exactly where we are as an organisation and as a program, and create this training absolutely bespoke to our needs. So it really is, you've done a fantastic job. So do you know how to say clap your hands on Zoom? All you do is raise them up and do little jazz fingers. So and that's a great little tip you can teach your participants as well. So thank you so much, Marietta, and thank you everybody for your time. If you have questions, feel free to email them, put them in the chat box, but I am going to be closing the meeting, or put them in the Facebook group. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming along today. And I'm really excited to hear that you have completed your homework by 4 p.m. Monday, like Monday, the very next Monday, before Wednesday. Okay? Take care, everybody, and thank you very much. Bye.